I need to make an industrial strength cable for my Cinder 2x72 belt grinder. And because I'm me, I forgot that I already developed a tool for the job. So, this jig was originally made to make compound and traditional bow strings, but since making it, I've grown attached to my custom industrial strength cables. So, I'd love to sell this jig to you. This can make cables from 3 centimeters long all the way up to whatever the hell length you want. This can be stacked to increase the size of the cable, so I haven't reached the maximum possible size yet, but times 2 of these units in tandem makes double the size cable, and this logic can be followed as far as you want. I learnt how to do this when I needed compound bow strings, but after I learnt the skill, I've used these cables for all sorts of applications. Every prepper should have one of these in their kit. Whether you build it or buy it from me, being able to make known strength industrial cable is way more handy than you might think. It should be said that I use a formula from archery to dictate the correct jig length versus string length. The formula is string length times 1.008 equals jig length. So write that down so you can use it later. But enough of that, let's get into the tutorial. First step is to turn both faceplates 90 degrees. To begin, we tie off one end of the line to a hole like so. Judging by my ghetto ruler, the string needs to be 46 centimeters long, so after plugging that into the formula, our jig's outer posts need to be 46.368 millimeters apart. Once the distance between the plates is correct, we wrap the string around this first post and then up to the second post. This is where your string actually begins. For this example, I'm using 80-pound fishing line for my cable. 5 strands of this equals 180 kilo, which is way stronger than I need, and it stands up to wear and tear really well, plus it's pre-stretched. Now, from this uppermost post, bring the string down and around the bottom post, then back up to where you began. That's completing one wrap, for lack of a better word. Now do this another 4 times and Bob's your uncle. At this stage, make sure the line is tight with a couple complementary strokes. Then use a bolt to secure the line end to another hole as seen here. If you're following along at home, you should have something resembling this at this stage. Some people add another coloured line into the mix. If you want to, then just repeat the previous steps with that new colour now. Cut your line free if you haven't already, then pivot the front plate like so. Again, making sure your line is tight, but not too tight. Use this nut to change the location of the plate if required. This might be needed if you have to pull the string tight, as seen in the video now. Once it's tight as desired, it's time to begin what's called serving the line. So grab a marker and draw 2 symmetrical lines. These lines are the beginning and end of the serving. This part can look tricky, so I decided to create an example to thoroughly explain what's going on. So grab your serving line and make sure it's rolled up for convenience sake. Now lay the loose ends of the line next to the line you're serving. I like to make a little loop held against the line to help the line in its intended direction. Wind the line over the top of itself, maintaining pressure on the loop as you start. Once you get to about 5 or more winds up, that's when you pull the loose end of the line tight. Now once again, you can cut this loose end off or continue wrapping over itself until it's hidden. If you're not hiding the line, then just pull it out and wrap with it out of the way. Alright, so let's presume that the line, the black mark, is here, okay? So we're going to go all the way up to that black line. Then we are going to count back 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I went back 6. So now is the important part. Grab it, come under here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now let go of that and keep tension here. You want to wrap against this. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, pull that and you can tighten. For the hell of it, I also filmed doing this serving technique on a larger pipe. It might be overkill, but I want people to learn this technique. Just skip ahead if this gets boring. So, to go over how to serve again, we have to get the line to wrap over itself about 5 or more times. making sure it's tight as you wrap and adjusting as needed before pulling it tight against itself. Now go ahead and wrap all the way up to the black line. Once at the black line, count back about 7 or so, counting as you go. Now, while holding onto your line, wind the line under and through the loop you've made. Do this the same amount of times as you counted back previously. So for me, in this example, that was 7 times. Then, my thumb is used to hold the loose end of the line in place. The loop is then carried around so that it's wrapping over the loose end held by your thumb. Make sure to keep the directions of the line separate here so you're not crossing over the wrong line. If done correctly, you should now be able to pull the loose end of the line tight under the rest of the line. Okay, so now I'll do what I just showed you all on the cable we were working on. Remember that this is called serving. This way. I should also mention that when you've reached the last wind that passes through the loop, you can tie off the loose end to prevent losing tension as you now wind the loop over the now tied line. You don't have to do this, but I like to. And then everything else is the same as shown before. Now as long as it's looking neat, you're good to tighten it, and then cut the line. End result should be something like this. So on a compound bow, this is the part that goes around the bolt, or the pins. But it's not quite done. I'll show you what I do next. So, do the same thing to the other end. Alright, and we get to activate a superpower here. Look at that! Showing off why the mystery bolt exists. There we go. That is tight, and we didn't have to go any further than what was literally the furthest possible on this jig. Now, I can double the length just by doubling this, which is only like, I don't know, insert amount price here. And we're pausing for an ad break. Did you know Friction's Knives sells other shit too? No? Well, now you do. So if you want a custom handmade knife, I'm your man. And if you want to buy handmade tools for knife making and maintenance, I'm also your man for that. So send us a message on Facebook to buy your own tool set today. Woo! Back to the video. So, now we serve the other side, beginning by drawing on our 2 symmetrical marks for the start and end of the serving. Now we're going to do the same thing we did on the other side. And because some of you might be following along at home, here is the end of that serving again. Wow. It's a little tricky, so I'm hoping to show it multiple times so that it locks into people's brains. So, we have wound through the loop backwards 5 times. Now we tie off the loose end so it holds tension. Then after that, go ahead and wind the loop around itself so the original line is being covered. I know this video is a tad boring, but hopefully this useful information carries you through. Well, I guess there's nothing tricky about that. Well, at this point, tightening. Oh, look at that. Just in time for the flash to run out. Okay, so I'm going to tighten that with the pliers now and cut it off. Now that's done, we can loosen off the, what do we call it? The artificial tensioner? Ooh, I like that name. Alright, so now we let off the artificial tensioner. And then we cut these off too. So, that's what you're left with. Now I'll cut these loose strands down to there as well. I have to be careful here because I've undone my work with a wonky cut a bunch of times at this exact stage of the project. And did I break it? No, I didn't. Woo, good. So now we stretch him. This is pre-stretched line, but I want to show this stage anyway, just in case anyone is making compound bow cable for themselves. So this will be an important part if you're making a bow or a compound bow. So, imagine this is shiny and black. These parts will be black and this will be shiny. Alright. Secure one side of the line to the back bolt, and then position the front bolt so that it is at the correct distance.
To stretch the strings, you want about 300 pounds of pressure. Now, my scale only went up to 240, I think, and it took me about 22 cranks to get there, and it was about maxed out for this little rig that I've made.
Now, I leave this for a night, and then we'll find out if this really is pretty stretched. It's the morning after. We have done what we needed to do. So that is a pre-tensioned cable. Okay? Now for the next step. We throw the cable back on the jig, then remove this part so that there is space to work. Start from back here. Yeah. So that's what it looks like at the start. Now we pull on that thread sticking out to tighten what we've already done. Once tight, wind your way up as far as you need, taking into account the size of loop you need for your cable. This part isn't easy, especially when the cable end is as small as I have it in this video. But just do what I did to that silver pipe earlier and you'll get it tight. If you get real stuck, drop a comment and I'll do a specific deep dive on the part you're having trouble with. Unless it was 3. So, this cable isn't perfect, but it'll do. Alright. Now we do this side. Same again, just taking this off so we have more room. Alright, now tighten. I'll show you. That's what you end up with. Loosen this one off. Now, the peg should be moved back one hole like so. Alright, so now we're going to measure a point in the middle to serve. That works. I hope I have enough line for this. Oh, I hope it's still recording. It is. So, we're there. Now, we just tighten him. That's done. So just cut that off now. And that is our cable done. So, could be prettier. Could be prettier. But then again, this isn't going on a compound bow. This is going on a belt grinder. But we know this will support 150 kilos. So it's worth making an industrial cable right, I think. You know, each one of these lines is going to hold 80 pounds each. Okay, so that is the video. I have one more topic on string making that I need to cover in the next video, and that's just when you see two little ends that specifically attach to a compound bow on both sides of the can. There's two different types of lines or cables that you'd find on a compound bow. But I'm saving that video for about a week or two because I really need to get back to what I'm doing in my workshop. If you can all do me a favour, like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm trying to get off of Facebook Meta because it's shit pretty much, and I'm wanting to put more effort into the YouTube channel for getting my products out there and information out there. So you will directly be able to help me if you find value in this. Just give us a like, give us a share, give us a subscribe, give us some money. I shouldn't say that. Alright, I'll catch you later. I did it. I did it. I did it. Oh. I hated that so fucking much. Oh my god. I can't wait for a soundproofed office.